Hey, I'm Kai, and today I'm going to be checking out the Super Fuzz by Behringer, the SF300. Now, this is a pedal I have owned before, but that was a fairly long time ago now, and I don't really remember anything about it, and plus I was running it through a Blues Junior at the time, so totally different environment, totally different deal. This pedal has a massive cult following, especially in the stoner and doom circles, as it just sounds great and it's super cheap at about £20 to £25. That's the sort of price where I just sort of had to check out this pedal and see what it was all about. Now, of course, this video is not sponsored. I've purchased this pedal with my own money. Before I get into a full demo, I just want to go through the tone that I've already got set up on here so that you know what you're in for. So this year on my channel, I'm hoping to check out some more standard pedals. I've tried a lot of quirky things from all sorts of small builders, but I'd really like to go through some of the basics. I've never tried a Rat, I've never tried a Big Muff, I've never tried a Blues Driver, so the Behringer Super Fuzz was a nice start to these. I also think this Behringer is going to be a great one to have around just for comparison's sake. If I'm trying out a £200 fuzz pedal, is it going to be 10 times as good as this Behringer? For a quick overview, this Behringer Super Fuzz is based on the Boss FZ2, which is in turn based on the Super Fuzz circuit. There are 3 different modes available, Fuzz 1, Fuzz 2 and a Boost, although there are 2 secret modes that I'll get into later on. For my clean tone in this video, I'm primarily going to be running through the Fractal FM3 high watt model into the ML Sound Lab Reflex Green impulse response. I'm going to show you what that sounds like completely dry. Quite a dark, dull, bland sort of sound which lends itself really nicely when paired with Fuzz. Fuzz 1 is a pretty balanced sound, it's super aggressive, super gnarly, and you can't get it to do a low gain thing, especially with this guitar with the high output pickups, but let's hear what it's doing. While it's definitely got a lot of gain on tap, it doesn't have a lot of versatility to the gain itself. It goes from a sort of heavy distortion all the way up to a completely blown out fuzz. The EQ on this pedal is pretty simple. You have 2 active EQ circuits for both treble and bass. This means that in the noon position they're going to be balanced, and then you can cut or boost them by turning them either way. So in the Fuzz 1 mode, I think I like it with the gain just below noon, the treble and bass boosted slightly, and then the volume just set to match. One thing I'm really enjoying about this pedal is the way that it really struggles to handle polyphonic chords. This means that it starts to really sputter out and get really nasty when you play stuff high up the neck. Okay, now we're going to try out Mode 2. Mode 2 is a lot more scoop sounding, and it works really good for walls of noise, doomy sorts of things, but maybe not as articulate as you'd need for something like indie rock, for instance. I really prefer Mode 1 to Mode 2 just because Mode 2 is quite hard to dial in, especially when you're outside of the context of a full mix. Now there is a secret mode between Mode 1 and Mode 2 where you sort of get the best of both worlds. It's not as mid-scooped as Mode 2, but it's not as nasal and harsh as Mode 1. You can access this mode by carefully finessing the mode switch just to get it sitting between the two. Now the boost mode is way too loud to use it with the Fractal normally, so I've had to add a volume trimmer just after the amp. This boost has 24 decibels of gain, and that just clips the Fractal instantly. Definitely retains a lot of that fuzzy sort of flavour about it, but you do need to be careful with the levels on this. The level knob is completely disabled and all of the boosting is done by the gain knob. You do still have access to the treble and bass knobs, so with the gain all the way down, I guess this would function as a nice boosting EQ. Even more useless than the boost mode is the secret mode between Fuzz 2 and the boost. This naturally blends the fuzz tone in with the dry boosted tone, but it's very hard to dial in, at least on this setup. It doesn't sound too bad, but it's really not what I'd be using this pedal for. I think my favourite tone so far is jamming it between mode 1 and mode 2. I am going to switch over to a dirtier amp. I've got the orange Rockaverb model in the Fractal FM3 setup, so that we can hear what this does into a nice high gain thing. Here's what that one sounds like completely dry. I'm going to try out that last setting I had on here for the secret mode on the boost side. Yes, I take back what I said about this second secret mode being completely useless on guitar, because it sounds fantastic into this Rockaverb. The final thing I'm going to run through in this demo is the secret mode number 1 into this Rockaverb. Okay, so Time to wrap this up into a conclusion, I suppose. At first I didn't think it was too versatile in terms of gain range, but once you factor in the boost and the second secret mode, that does start to open up a touch. I'd say that if you're just mainly using the first two fuzz modes though, you're not going to get a ton of different range out of this. It's pretty much high gain all the time. You are however getting a lot of tonal variety with this pedal. It does all sorts of things from nice balanced sounds to super bright, harsh sounding, almost HM2-like tones, all the way down to big, fat, doomy things. So for the price, this pedal is very hard to argue with. It's a fantastic sounding fuzz pedal, especially if you're into things like stoner rock, doom metal, or indie rock. There are, of course, going to be a few negatives with a pedal like this. The first thing I should mention is that the knobs are very hard to turn. They're super stiff and have an awful lot of resistance to them. Pressing the foot switch down gives a really horrible sounding squeaking noise that I've not experienced on any pedal before, but it's not pleasant. Let me just show you that. Yeah, not my favourite. That is of course due to the plastic construction of this pedal, which I also think is pretty unforgivable. The standard rhetoric when it comes to this Behringer SF300 has been that it's so cheap that you can just repurchase it should one come to break. Personally, I believe that Behringer should just rehouse these into metal cases, accept that the price is going to go up by £5, and do the absolute bare minimum not to contribute to e-waste. Overall though, I am incredibly happy with this pedal and I can safely recommend it. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments and drop me a subscribe if you enjoyed the video. There will of course be an affiliate link in the description box down below if you'd like to purchase this pedal for yourself. That is everything that I've got for this video though, so thank you so much for watching. I've been Kai.